Good morning, Midnight's Edge fans. We're here to tell you that we have so much more to offer you now at our Mixed Tees store. Not just t-shirts and hoodies, but we do have plenty of those, and new designs for that matter. You can also get mugs, and of course our brand new limited Amber Turds stained blanket. That's right, just for your bed or wherever you need it. So head on over to Mixed Tees now and get all your apparel and goodies from Midnight's Edge.
Get up, wake up, this is your final warning. It's time for midnight session in the morning. The gang is ready to go and it's time for the show. It's time for midnight session in the morning.
Woohoo! I don't know why I wasn't unmuted, but greetings, everybody. I give up already this morning. So, good morning, everybody. The Thunderbolts dropped. Nobody cares. Goodbye. See you. That's the show. Good morning. We got Andre the Boss Man here coming off fresh from seeing Thunderbolts.
Indeed, I have just seen it, and we'll be talking about it. First, we'll be doing the non-spoilers for those that want to see it, and going relatively cold. And then later, with warning, we'll be talking some spoilers as well. But non-spoilers first, so don't you worry.
And then we got Paulie joining us as well, who I think saw it as well. So there's at least two people who have seen it here.
Buenos tacos.
Something about tacos.
I feel like taco now.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go get a taco while you guys talk about this crap. And then we got Chris Brawley here from Bleeding Fool. How you doing?
I am great. I am so great and spicy also. So feeling good about today.
How you doing, Paul Chatto? We also have here from Canada.
No, actually, let's be fair. From the Democratic People's Republic of Canada.
It's Canuckstan.
Yeah.
Duh.
How you doing?
We'll see. It's a minority government. We could be okay.
Yeah, I'm from Norway. I'm no one to talk. I mean, I'm from the People's Republic of Norway. So, yeah.
Yeah. So this morning we got some Thunderbolts to talk about. We also have some super chats to get into. We got Corbin Dallas, who's been a member for 18 months. Thank you for that. Mark Field sends in $1.99, says positive vibes to you all. Have a beautiful day. Well, I hope you do as well, Mark.
Yeah,
and we got Dr. Longdongler sending in $1.99 to remind you to pound that like button if you haven't already, because he sent us a thumbs up to remind you to do so. Hyperguyver says nobody gives a super shit about Thunderbolts. Well, we'll have to see how bad it is. And then STR Red Wolf says tacos. That sounds good to me. And the Mum has been a member for 6 months. Thank you for that. And with that, let's not waste any time. So, gentlemen, what's the verdict? Does anybody really care about Thunderbolts?
Well, I'm sure there's some people that care, but I do believe that the number of people that care.
Okay, people that don't care, that aren't attached to
significantly.
the film itself.
Yeah, because
Anybody?
we had like some early tracking figures that were on the same level as the Eternals. So we'll see how it turns out over the weekend. What I can say as for me is that I went in with honestly zero hype. I went in kind of expecting the worst. So everyone keep that in mind. I was expecting a really bad movie because that is what I expect from Marvel right now, for it to be bad. And of course, when you expect bad, it's kind of like easier to please you because it's a little bit easier to over-deliver when you expect to be disappointed, right? So what I found about Thunderbolts, without giving any kind of spoilers, is that of all the bad Marvel movies, this is the best. This is the best of the bad. And I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's kind of like frustrating because it's a sequel to Black Widow, and it's a sequel to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I still haven't seen. So some of these characters, I really don't know. Like this Timu Captain America, who is honestly a better Captain America than palette swapped Captain America. But still, like same with the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character. I've seen her a couple of times, but I have no idea who the hell she is. If she's supposed to be good or bad. I mean, she's kind of like villainous here, I guess. But I don't know. Like, I do this, I don't know half of these freaking people. But even with that, I came away pleasantly surprised. Again, it's not up there with the good Marvel movies, but of all the bad ones, it's the best of the bunch. That's my impression. I think that many people will go in from this or go get away from this. I think it's going to depend entirely on your expectations. If you still like Marvel and you think you are going to get a good time, I mean, I heard some other people I saw it with saying that, yeah, that could have been better. So it's not like that people love it or anything, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That's kind of like the best phrase I can kind of like give it. Paulie, what say you?
Okay, sorry, I just got back. Right in time. I was listening. Yeah, I was actually pretty disappointed. I liked it far less than you did.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I get what you're saying in regards to the best of the worst. The things that I liked about it, it all seemed very familiar, rehashed, like a good frozen TV dinner.
Like a good Suicide Squad redux, you mean?
Yeah, like we just have seen it. Listen, on the positive note, Florence, Dave Harbour, Louis Pullman, they're really good with the material that they got. You know,
The
they
cast
really,
are all good.
yeah, they really made the material better than what it really is. It's a simple story. I did appreciate a lot of the practical fights and some of the stunts, but at the end of the day, I came out was like, whoa, this whole thing with mental illness and the darkness element, I was not expecting it at all walking into the theater. I was expecting something more of a fresh, take on a fresh type of Suicide Squad. And it took me a minute to process after my initial out of the theater. Then I slept on it and I liked it even less.
This is something that happens with recent Marvel movies, with the one exception being Deadpool and Wolverine, which I appreciated more after seeing it. But with everyone else, the more I think about them, the less I like them. And I have no doubt that that is going to be the case as well. It's just that so far, I'm sure as we discuss it more, I'll find more things to dislike. But so far, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad. When you look at the comparisons, by now the sheer hours produced of bad Marvel greatly exceed the hours produced of good Marvel. But this is top of the heap of bad Marvel, so that's the best I can say for it. And yeah, the cast are all good. No problems about the cast. The problem at this point is the weight of all the other shit content that you are expected to have seen to kind of like make sense of this.
Right.
And even within that, it's not great. Like, for instance, I've seen this done before and done better in the Suicide Squad. Now, of course, there's an interesting twist here that isn't in the Suicide Squad. That was in the A-Team, but that wasn't in the Suicide Squad. And also, when you say about mental health, yeah, I did not see that coming, that the real villain of this movie is mental illness.
Depression, mental illness.
Personality disorders.
Which which I don't think it's a spoiler that that Sentry is. I think people know that it's
I
Sentry.
think I honestly I know nothing about Sentry. I've only seen him in a couple of comics. To me, he looks like Marvel Superman, but beyond
Correct.
that, I know nothing about him. And in the movie, he came across as wannabe Homelander.
Yeah, yeah. And then what's funny is I actually was thinking of the costume from the villain in Quest for Peace, the atomic guy. Remember the old Superman movie, Quest for Peace, Superman 4?
Oh yeah. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, to be honest.
He had the same look. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's comic book accurate though, isn't it?
It's comic book accurate, and from what Dante was telling me, because we did talk about this yesterday, Nuclear Man, thank you, is that this guy is completely, the Thunderbolts are just completely overmatched. That it's so funny that they made Sentry the guy in here, because Thunderbolts are just so
I can't wait until we get into how they actually defeated him in the end, when we get to the spoiler section here. Yeah.
No non-spoilers there.
Yeah.
But I got to that fight that they had. I don't know if it's I don't want to spoil.
We'll get into it in the spoiler section.
Nobody cares.
I'm leaving
Nobody
as soon as
cares.
people start spoiling.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll wait, delay spoilers a little while longer. We'll get back to spoilers.
Unless
All
you
right,
want
nobody but Paul cares.
Get rid of me early.
I'm spoiled, so.
Well, we'll still get into spoilers a little bit later.
I don't ever plan on watching this, so I don't
Yeah,
care.
you do. Come on.
I
Did
am.
the movie?
No, I don't.
Did the movie do anything that you were genuinely surprised? Like, oh wow, I didn't think that in a good way, not moroseness, but in a good way.
I mean, on the positive, it just shows me how what a good leading lady, what an interesting charm that Florence Pugh has.
Yeah, Florence Pugh is really good.
Is she the standout? Do you think?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
She and her dad, they're Crimson Dynamo.
Okay.
And Walker, the replacement Captain America, he was really good as well.
Okay.
He had great moments. But he's got a backstory, which was kind of the only really interesting thing in Captain whatever, the Winter Soldier one.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Right. As John, he had a very interesting storyline there, and that continues in here.
Okay. Do any of the 5 main characters have a character arc?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not a great character arc, but yes, there is a character arc, and it has to do with the mental health theme.
Okay.
And some are better than others as far as their arc.
Speaking of mental health, is there really a 27-minute therapy session in this movie?
No.
Okay.
It's not 27 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes.
I'm not gonna give an exact amount of time but I'll let you say there's a therapy session.
When I heard about that, I perceived that being maybe there is a therapy session, but there's so many flashbacks to what's being shared that it's not basically everyone just sitting in a room for.
Well, that's what I asked, if it was the framing mechanism, and the person I asked said not really, or no, or something like that.
Interesting. Do any pre-existing MCU heroes or villains appear?
Other than the ones which are in the trailers,
right,
and in the poster, no.
There's some mentions though.
Okay. Do they explain the asterisks in the title?
Yes, they do.
Mid or post-credit scenes?
Yes, both.
Okay. That's my 20 questions. Paul, wow, what you got?
Did they appear in a TV show when they were 14? Anyway, never mind.
Well, if they did, they didn't tell us.
Probably Wyatt Russell.
So my thought about the Thunderbolts is, again, the continuing lack of coolness and bad management at Disney, which is no surprise, in that it almost seems that that this movie should not be, and this is just from the trailer and the promo, should not be compared to a lot of the other movies in their stable, in the sense that we're still, the reality is we have elevated B movie, C movies to A movie status. It's one of the problems with the genre, and it's gotten kind of tiresome. And I think that's one of the things that people have gotten tired of. If Disney had treated like the Eternals and some of the other overblown bits of nonsense more like a John Carpenter division, if they had hived off, I'm calling it the John Carpenter division, and I think you know what I mean by that stylistically, right? They're not expensive, lots of fun, Big Trouble, Little China, Escape from New York. This film feels more of that nature. If Disney purposely had this less expensive division where you could create the nonsense that these superhero, they should be relegated to B movie status and just have fun. And you're talking about this with a level of seriousness that, I mean, has applied maybe to the previous Avengers, but how different should this be from a Conan, like a classic Conan movie? It shouldn't. It should be part of that genre.
Yeah, well, I would say that this movie absolutely succeeds in standing out from the other Marvel movies because of its themes, and also there is significantly less action in this movie than in some other movies. And I actually happen to think that on the whole is to this movie's credit, because Marvel action has a tendency to be CGI shitstorm.
Oh yeah,
which
and
just
always at the very end.
which just costs a shit ton of money,
Mhm.
and that is frequently ridiculous. Like, for instance, Tom, you frequently point out in Black Widow how you have like that massive ship falling down from the sky for 45 minutes. The movie would probably be better and cheaper without that whole thing if you came up with a different sequence instead, right? And I find that is often the case with many Marvel things, that you have these CGI shitstorms that really aren't that impressive, that take forever, that really are kind of boring anyway. This movie didn't really have that, and that I think was to its credit. So it does stand out from other. That's part of the reasons why I say that this is the best of the worst that Marvel has to offer, which is very faint praise because it's still in the worst category.
Right. But okay, let's take that movie that we both like that I just saw fairly recently. It's kind of it's a sword and sorcerer movie, the part of the Conan library. We talked about Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane. I mean, it's not meant to be a great movie, but we remember it fondly, right? We know what that is. How would this fit into that milieu?
Oh, this movie wishes it was Solomon Kane.
Oh, okay.
No, okay.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm asking. Okay.
Yeah. If anything,
that's a great movie.
I'd even say also like something like that's a very simple story that's memorable, like the 13th Warrior, which has gone on to be a kind of a little cult classic. This one wishes. It's a very familiar story. The actors again make it way more charming than what it is, and trust me, I went in really wanting to like this film, but it is
sort
what
of
it is.
like.
Is it better or worse than Black Widow?
Better.
Better.
Again,
No.
yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is the best of the worst.
Okay. Better than Shang-Chi.
Yes, it's better than Shang-Chi. It's all of the bad movies that you care to mention. This
Yep.
is going to be better
Okay.
than any of them.
How
But it's
about
still a
like Iron
bad
Man
Marvel movie.
3? Iron Man 3 is not so.
The leaks and Iron Man 3 is leaks and bounce ahead of this.
Oh, shoot.
Mhm.
Okay. It sounds like I'd rather watch The Last Dragon for the 10th time or something before I watch this. I don't know.
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, Andre. Did people in your crowd? Did you have a crowd?
I had maybe 5 people, so I wouldn't exactly call it a crowd. The only discussion I overheard walking out was like some guys in their late teens saying, "Oh, that could have been better."
Okay. I saw with other media, so to speak, influencers, so to speak, and what was annoying was was during the movie. To me, half the humor didn't land, but to them, they thought it was every joke was just
They
like
were
the
hamming it
greatest
up.
thing. They were just loud and screaming loud over it, and oh my god, this is so funny. And
Well, I
Page
think
Shields.
probably the audience that you saw it with, right smack dab in the middle of LA, like that's probably going to be the single most predisposed to like the movie anywhere on the planet. That's
I
going to be
totally agree.
that would have been the audience that you saw it with right there. I do not
Mhm.
think there's going to be a single other screening anywhere on the planet where you are going to find the kind of enthusiasm than you'd find in that one particular screening. You're not
Yeah.
going to find as many people with an interest in liking it anywhere.
So I had asked Dante because I know he went to the same media screening, but in a different part of town, and that as well, influencers, quote unquote. Then you're just hearing people laughing, during the whole thing, and we're like, are we missing something? There's something wrong with us. Maybe it is good.
Well, there was very little to laugh of there. I mean, I know there were like some attempts at jokes, like the pooping in the football field and stuff like that. That was like a recurring thing. And they wanted the audience to howl at that. And I'm sure someone did in your screening, but I didn't
Yep.
get any response. Yeah.
I think half of what Harbor was doing, from me. I got some chuckles, maybe one out laugh. But
Yeah,
then,
I got the chuckler 3. That I admit, I
yeah,
chuckled a couple of times, which is
but
more than I can say about most other Marvel movies in the last few years, with the exception of Deadpool and Wolverine.
but I think where they could have landed with the charm of Harbor and Florence, they often milked the jokes too long. Like, okay, if it's funny, they're still staying on it. They're still staying on. I'm like, that happened a few times for me, especially even like the first end credit scene. That was a great example of milking a joke, and it's like, this is not that funny.
That was pathetic.
Yeah.
You mean, yeah, the mid-credit scene? That was absolutely pathetic, and that needed to be on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there ever was something that needed to be in deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, it was that. That was just sad. That was not mid-credit scene worthy. That was pathetic. The end credit scene, that was all right. The end credit scene is the best end credit scene in a very long time. But the mid credit scene, that was just embarrassing. I mean, it wasn't funny. It was no chuckle. That was just groan inducing.
Sorry. Apologize. Something's we're on a puppy alert, so just.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, doggy's gonna doggy.
Second credit scene. What did you think of that?
Yeah, no, I liked it. Yeah, I no spoilers, but I liked this. That was the best credit scene I've seen for a long time. But again, it only goes to show the issue that for a couple of these Marvel movies, it reminded me of the Wasp and Ant-Man. The second Ant-Man movie, where you don't really need to see the movie because the only thing that is of any significance in it is the post-credit scene. You've seen the post-credit scene. You kind of seen what matters in that whole freaking movie. Rest of that movie is kind of forgettable, other than that it introduces Ghost, who we see on this poster here. Who, for a fun fact, Ghost in this movie, she was at one point cast as Red Sonja. When they went with a black actress for Red Sonja, when it was super uber woke, this is the one they cast.
So they took out the uber woke of Red Sonja and gave her a chance to be in Thunderbolts. Does it set up like the next whatever the next phase that we're supposed?
Oh, very much so. Yes,
Okay.
that's the end credit scene.
Okay.
That very much so sets up what is to come.
Any shocking deaths in this?
No.
Okay. Wow. Any fun soundtrack selections?
There was one missed opportunity.
Okay.
Hello, Darkness, my old friend. That really would have been suitable a couple of times. That was a missed opportunity, wouldn't you say, Paulie?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Now when I gave it to you,
maybe the disturbed version of Sound of Silence. Yeah.
Any version of Sound of Silence would have worked. You just need that "Hello, Darkness, my old friend."
Yeah.
You just need any version of that.
But then that would be them, having a little bit of fun with mental illness.
Oh, okay. Is that the
depression.
message? Is that sort of the message of this?
That is the theme of the movie. Yes.
Okay. All right.
We'll soon get into spoilers here.
Yeah.
I'll speak a little bit more about it. But
what did you think of
super chat first?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, let's share your question first, Paulie.
What did you think of Julie Louis-Dreyfus as and her role in the banter and all that?
She annoyed me in that I don't know who the hell the character is supposed to be. I'm like, is this like what's this character's label? Is this someone I'm supposed to root
Isn't
for?
she kind of like the replacement for Samuel Jackson? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I found her annoying.
Well, that's on brand for her, I think.
I found her annoying, and I kind of like wanted to see her impeached. Kind of like deserved it in a sense.
I'll be honest. Yeah, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, I love her to death, but she's only good in one role only.
Yeah.
She's Elaine on Seinfeld. End of discussion. She's nothing else. I've not seen her. I've never seen her in anything else that I've liked. I never saw Veep, so I can't speak to that.
Veep was great.
Yeah, she's good in that kind of role, though. She could have been.
That's what I'm saying. Is it basically the same character? Like,
yeah, basically. Sure.
From what I understand, like she's in this because of Veep, is my understanding. And I've never seen Veep, but from what I understand, it's supposed to be a Veep-like character. But again, I've seen her in a couple of other previous movies, but not having seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I still don't know who the hell she's supposed to be or what
she's a CIA head of the CIA.
Yeah, she's the head of that. That is clear that she's the head of the CIA. So I know her role. I know her, or I know her job. I know her position, but I don't know if she's supposed to be good or bad. After this movie, I lean to that she's supposed to be a little bit bad, but I don't know. Like I don't know the character. That's she kind of like annoyed me because I don't know where she's supposed to be. I kind of like felt that I'm supposed to know where I have this character and I don't, and that annoyed me. I felt like since I haven't done my homework, all of my homework, I'm missing out here, which was annoying.
Well, she's terrible. I think I could not stand any of the business. Nothing of it landed. Nothing was funny. It was like, let's let her riff and create some fun moments. And I was like, please move on. So yeah, I could totally annoying character.
Yeah, I was tremendously unimpressed.
Yeah, because
she was the worst in the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think her and the inclusion of Bucky didn't seem like right fits. I don't know if you know that they filmed Bucky in after the fact.
Yeah.
They shot him after the fact,
Yeah.
and I could see that.
It was a little bit reshooty. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. Don't get me wrong. I love Sebastian Stan, and but and I like some of the action scenes. There wasn't a lot of them, but I did like some of the.
That's what I liked about them. There weren't a lot, and they were mostly practicals. They were good. I have no
Yep.
complaints about the action scenes. I'm glad there
Mhm.
weren't any more. I'm sure
I
there's some
really
people that's
love
going
reshoot
to.
Gatwa. Never mind.
God,
Well, you know, the problem I'm having here is there's nothing you guys are saying that's making me feel like people should go out and see this movie, or there's any real good reason they need to see this movie.
Well, there isn't.
Yeah.
Well, then why does it even, like, why are we even talking? Why is it not a Disney Plus show?
Well, because
that's great.
That's what I'm looking at here. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it feels like. They think
That's
that
what it
this
felt
thing's
like.
going to make $75 million at the box office. I got a news flash for him. Guess what? Ryan Coogler's going to have the third week at number one.
You think so?
Ooh.
You think
I'm
so?
starting to wonder. I don't know how well this thing's going to land. They're saying 75 million, but I see zero fucking interest in it.
Yeah.
Zero interest. Like, nobody cares. Like, and that's where I
I
say,
mean-
Paul, you may be the only person I've heard who gives a shit about spoilers, probably because you already bought your tickets for this afternoon or tomorrow, right? Other than that, I have heard zero people give two fucks about this movie. Like, if anything, it's got negative reaction to it, to where most people are like, oh, I could care less about that. Like, to the point where I think people are going to actively skip it on purpose just to see the reactions and then maybe show up next weekend.
Me and Dante were talking about that, and we honestly don't know, because we're like, it is a Marvel film, and people are going to the theaters, and it is summer, so it should do fairly well. Listen, I'm not a fan of the film. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that Minecraft, cracked the seal there, Tom. So I'm just thinking on that tip. But
I mean, everybody's surprised by how well Sinners is doing. That's the only reason I'm saying. I could be completely friggin' wrong, but I think irony of irony is they have Ryan Coogler in their own, camp. Why didn't he make a Blade movie? Instead, he went off and made his own original vampire movie that's kicking everything else's ass right now this year at the box office, basically.
We went last night for a sec. I saw it for the second time. Romy saw it for the first time. Completely sold out.
That's what I'm saying. Every time I
mean-
see these, people have been sending me sold out showings of this movie, the Sinners one. But
Yep.
I've only seen a few shots of Thunderbolts, and it's usually 1 or 2 seats sold, if that.
Yeah. I agree with you, Tom. I mean, Marvel really needed to hire Ryan Coogler and tell him, you know what, bring back Wesley Snipes and do Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's 30 million. Make it happen for that price.
60 million. Fuck, give them that much. It'll make it.
Yeah, fine, 60 million. Here's a maximum 60 million. Make it happen. You get 3 action scenes. Make them practical. We don't want any CGI shitfest because they always make the movie worse.
Do you think it'll do better than Captain America?
No.
Brave New World.
Brave New World.
I don't. Does anybody else think so?
First, let's just. There's a couple of things here, because when you say do better, do I think it's going to, in the end, lose less or earn more? Yes, because this movie obviously cost significantly less to make than Captain America. So just
like at least half or more.
Just for that alone, it's going to be a significantly smaller financial disaster than Captain America. Also, this movie is 10 times better than Captain America Brave New World. Captain America Brave New World is a piece of garbage without redeeming features. The more I think about it, the less I like it. It's a complete disaster. Thank God Harrison Ford has 1923 going on right now, because that movie was a blot on his career and he just embarrassed himself through hulking out and everything like that. That movie was a piece of shit. This movie is 10 times as good. Like, I didn't hate this movie. It was all right. But whereas Captain and Brave New World was pure garbage. So I think that word of mouth is going to be significantly better for this movie. However, if this movie ends up grossing less at the box office, and I can see that happening, but if that happens, that is because of the residual damage from Captain America Brave New World, which only hurt the Marvel brand. And I think that movie just killed fans' enthusiasm for this movie. Because of that, I think this movie is going to suffer. But if they were to open relatively equal, if they were to give an equal starting point, this movie would outgross Captain America: Brave New World, because this is a better / less bad movie than that.
I think
To
the
add
problem
to
it
that-
has is that it doesn't have as much interest in it. But go ahead. Sorry, Paulie.
To add to that, I think the way that they market it, and I said this in my out of theater reaction when I just got out of theater, I'm like, this movie has been marketed so like, zany Guardians, squad, Suicide Squad, let's get the Misfits together, let's have some fun, and it's not that, obviously, but I think the way they market it, and I think it'll make a few bucks this weekend.
Well, for me wanting to go see it, first of all, there's 3 actors in there that I actually like: Lawrence Pugh, David Harbour, and Sebastian Stan. I'm actually interested in seeing them. I like what they've done in the past.
Then you like the movie. If that's what you want to see, and you want to see because they carry the movie. Florence Pugh, I mean, I know many people didn't like to see her naked in Oppenheimer, but she is a good actress. She was one of the highlights of Black Widow. She's the highlight of this movie, so she absolutely carries it.
Yeah, and she was a highlight in Black Widow. So, and the thing is, there is absolutely nobody in Black America that I want to see. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the movie because there's nothing in it. Nobody in it that I want to see. And Harrison Ford is a very hit and miss actor outside of a couple of outside of his normal what do you call it, comfort zone. He has had some hits.
What do you mean a hit and miss actor?
Well, I mean, okay, so
hit and miss movies, he's always solid.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
but
That's
I
what I think. That's what it means.
I don't really care to see him. Like,
Okay, that's your personal preference. Okay,
he's not someone that I go to see for whatever reason, unless he's in Star Wars. Air Force One was good, and The Fugitive was good. It was fine, but there's like just a whole bunch of movies that he's been in that I went, okay.
But just to like Paul's point, like, right, the movies you just mentioned are 30 fucking years old.
Well, there's that too.
Well, Witness,
that's what I mean.
I mean, he's got some good movies.
He hasn't made a great movie in a long time, I think is what Paul's trying to say.
I think this movie's going to put up Mystery Men numbers. I just don't think anybody's interested in it. They don't recognize anything in it.
Don't invoke that movie on this one.
Mystery Men.
That movie's a masterpiece.
Man. I just don't think it's going to put up. It's not going to do $50 million weekend. It's certainly not.
Yeah,
so you're in my
Man
camp. You don't think?
I think Sinner stays number 1 this week.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're in my camp. Then,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I have no interest in seeing this. I didn't even finish Black Widow, so I'm not going to go to the theater to see this. I will watch it, when it comes out. Just
when
like
it comes to Disney Plus, where you can see it for free.
Yeah, or the high seas. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm just I'm feeling a little, it's oversaturated for me by now. All the Marvel content, I'm like, there's so many better stories that I'm excited about. And I think that might be indicative of another reason why Sinners is doing so well. I don't think it's because people want to see blues, movies about the blues. I don't think it's strictly a black centric film that's only for that audience, like some Action Jackson, great movie by the way, was. And I don't think it's because people are hard up for horror. I think they're just looking for something different, and the movie was marketed mysteriously enough, and it's got great word of mouth, and that's why people keep going back. I don't think this one's going to have it. You guys might be right as far as it being ranked the best of the worst, right? Like better than the Eternals and the Marvels. Great. Wow. It's
faint praise.
Yeah, very faint praise. So, I mean, I may watch it just to kind of, when I'm at home, when I can do it from the comfort of my own home. For me, going to the theater is event-based, or I'm looking for a unique experience. And from what, Paulie, the way you're saying, it's like there's nothing original about this at all. And half the laughs were, half the jokes, maybe not even half the jokes landed. So,
But it's not. It's weird though, Andre, because at the same time, it's not like it's terrible. Like it didn't offend me. It's not woke. There's not.
No, there's no wokeness. There's no
Right.
wokeness here.
That's why I say I'll watch it. I'm not going to watch Agatha, right, all
No,
along.
no,
I'm not
no.
interested in watching that. I don't need to watch that from the comfort of my own home. This I'll watch from the comfort of my own home, based solely on the fact that you guys have said it's better than this and this. It's not bad. It's not woke. Enjoy it. So I'll do that. But that's not enough to get me to go to the cinema.
That's what I'm saying.
fair.
I still wonder, even if this movie was a B or an A, right? Even if you had you, Gary, all the big YouTubers, Critical Drinker, everybody going out there and saying, you know what, this movie was actually pretty good, I still don't think it would move the needle all that much on this one. And
No,
I think
it's a Mystery Man thing or a Meteor Man.
Well, and that's what a lot of these influencers and critics are saying. Marvel is so back. It's a reset. It's this and that. I'm like,
oh my God. Yeah, these are the same people that were saying the whole time as shit like Shang-Chi and the Eternals came out that nothing is wrong. Marvel is as good as ever. What are you talking about? Everything is fantastic. That's the same people that insisted that each new Marvel movie was best Marvel movie since the last Marvel movie. And that crowd is the same crowd that's saying Marvel is back. No, Marvel is not back.
I do agree. We read the hashtag Thunderbolts. You just put that up and see all the influencers. I was just reading them off yesterday live, and it's like it's all the same. No, like they got the same talking points.
Same talking points, yeah.
And it was just like, no, I mean, this is.
What it's almost like, do I care what the opinions of the propagandized sheep have to say with their bleeding, or do I want to wait till it comes out and then get the real reaction from regular moviegoers or listen to you guys who have actually gone, who I trust, and then I'll make up my mind. I guess I'm just not an opening weekend person anymore. I used to be.
Fair.
That's fair.
But I want to just wait.
And I was very fair to, this was a media thing. For whatever reason, we're still on Marvel's list. And, it was a free
reviewer.
Yeah, it was a free movie. It was a free, all that stuff. I said that in the review. But here's my take. I wanted it to be where we have this discussion that, this is another good step in the right direction, like Deadpool and Wolverine was, but it's not for me.
Yeah,
it's a shame. They are hit or miss now, and that's something that maybe we didn't think we could say about Marvel.
Well, actually, they're mostly misses.
Here lately,
we are.
If you stop and think about it, and you take out Deadpool and Wolverine, Guardians 3, and Spider-Man, Marvel hasn't had either a hit or a decent film in like over 5 years now.
Yeah, in 6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
7.
And then look at also how. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, 7 years because not all that many people were taken by Endgame.
True. Yeah, and same thing with the second Ant-Man and Captain Marvel, which were the other things before that. So yeah, so honestly, you could even.
I don't think they've helped their case either by putting out lame product on television. I mean, that's always, honestly, the only things I've enjoyed that they've put out on television was that Agent Carter show that was on ABC, I think. And
I was gonna say, let me rephrase what you're saying. They could put out as much lame shit as they want on TV as long as it didn't tie into the movies, or at least be required homework, because then the audience could just ignore it.
Right. Well, right? I even liked like the one shot, the Werewolf by Night.
Right, but I'm talking like things like S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Because like S.H.I.E.L.D. started off okay, and then it just got more and more convoluted as it went along.
That's right.
So like I got to a point where I just checked out, and it didn't matter. It was no loss to me, and it didn't destroy anything Marvel for me going forward. I just didn't watch that thing anymore because.
Right. But when it moved to Disney Plus, it's almost like you have to.
Yeah, once they started doing Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness is where I had that moment, just like most of the audience probably did when I'm sitting in the theater going, wait a fucking minute. None of this is even going to address what just happened, is it? And not only is it not going to address any of what just happened, this is a sequel to that show I didn't finish because it got stupid. right? Because I only
Plus it's
watched
gonna
half.
and plus it's going to throw stuff at you like Xavier and the Fantastic Four that aren't
All
going to
that
matter
we-
either.
Yeah, all that nonsense with the cameo porn, right? And that's basically what Marvel has been for the last 6-7 years since Endgame. Nothing but cameo porn, or you had to have seen this said Marvel TV show. And this is why things like even Daredevil can't play anymore. Like nobody's watching Daredevil. That's how I know Marvel is deader than dead, right? Because that was one of the most popular things they had. When that moved over from Netflix to Disney Plus, when they bought those rights out, it was one of the number one shows on Disney Plus. And that show was already, 3-4 years old at that point, Andre? Give or take, maybe a little more?
Yeah.
Many years in between seasons, correct.
Yeah.
Too long.
So after this, what do they have? I mean, they have Fantastic Four, and then it's Secret Wars and Doomsday, and
Well,
And I'm starting to wonder how those are gonna
closing
play,
credit,
yeah.
and the second
Well,
closing credit.
Yeah, and let's not forget that we still have Ironheart to come and destroy the brand even more on Disney Plus, followed by Power Man, who is also a race bent.
it's not Power Man, it's Wonder Man.
Sorry, Wonder Man.
That's right.
Yeah, no, Power Man actually would not have been race bent.
Power
But,
Man, if they ever race bent Power Man, people might actually make a stink about it.
I stand corrected, but either way, that's all just another example of just the kind of stuff that Marvel should not have made.
Right.
It's the wrong kind of content. That's only going to highlight.
Yeah, the Wonder
only
Man, I
thing
think
that's
that's just going to be another She-Hulk type show, goofiness, which is fine. I wish
yeah,
they had
probably.
stuck with the canon. I mean, Marvel's going to Marvel. There's sequels, Shang-Chi 2, I guess. The only thing I was really excited about was potentially the Blade movie. And, I think we should have read the writing on the wall after Deadpool and Wolverine that there's only going to be one Blade. What a great moment in that flick. So meta. But
let's
Deadpool and Wolverine was the end. I think that's the peak of the end.
Well, certainly for the time being. I'm sure that there's going to be like one or two more movies like that, but we'll see how long they keep going here, because they're going to keep losing a ton on this. And I think that next year's Avengers Doomsday, that's going to be a big flop for them.
They've got to figure out what they're going to do with the X-Men. And I personally, for me, on the X-Men, I thought Logan was the end of the X-Men. That was a great
kind
movie.
of was.
Mangold is one of his best movies, and it perfectly ended the era of X-Men. And of course, now Disney's got to figure out how they can retcon all that and give us.
It kind of did with Deadpool and Wolverine putting a bit of a.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're going to use certain elements going forward. Obviously, I'm sure Hugh Jackman will show up at least once or twice more.
Yeah.
But clearly they're going to eventually move into a new X-Men. I think that what's going to be stupid is that I think Endgame is going to feel a lot more like Days of Future Past by the time we're said and done with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I also kind of think maybe they go a different route and bring Sam Raimi back to do a Marvel Zombies and just do gimmick. I mean, could you imagine just if they turned into nothing but gimmicks, kind of like when
well, they need to just kind of Fantastic Four should be a launching pad for them to say, okay, look, from here on out, we're starting a new era in Marvel. It's this Marvel starts in the 60s, like I've said before, where you kind of just go through the eras and do period piece Marvel films.
Yeah. Completely
Completely new actors. They don't all have to be interconnected and all that kind of crap. That way the audience could just enjoy the films for what they are. Don't be spending so damn much on them. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the way things are looking, more and more people are coming around to it. And I've been saying it the longest, or at least one of the people have been saying it the longest, that the superhero movies are dead, kids. This is it. And I don't even know about Superman anymore, regardless of whatever, super shit rumor stuff that's going on. Because now I'm hearing it's only one, like you shared a thing in the background, it's only like one joke in the movie. And somebody one of my people, Andre, had told me after we dropped our video last night that we were on to something with the Snyder Bro stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that
so it's basically it's a knock at the Snyder Bros, and it's like one joke in the movie, I guess, and that's about it.
My point is, if they John Carpenterized a bunch of the smaller superhero movies and not took it
Totally
so
agree.
seriously,
Yeah.
then I think you make them as inexpensively as possible. I think it can work. It's just you need to be hip to be able to do that and be able to go with the flow. And everything becomes too serious, and then you get the Eternals, the externals. No, the Eternals.
Eternals.
They're
The
all of them,
Eternals,
Paul.
and actually Bucky was in that, wasn't he? Sebastian Stan was in that.
Was
In
he?
Eternals? No, he wasn't. Was he?
No, I don't think
Who
he
was
showed
the
up
guy
in
who
that one.
turned out to be evil? Wasn't that Sebastian Stan?
No,
No,
that
you're
was
thinking.
one of the Eternals, but it
No,
wasn't.
it was one of them, one of the robots.
No, I know
Yeah,
that,
I think
but
you're
it
just
looked like,
crisscrossing your wires now.
yeah, I know, but it sure looked like him.
It
Anyway,
sure did. Yeah.
It sure looked
They
like
all
him.
look alike.
So the thing is, I think you could surf this if you had management that understood what all this stuff was. Yeah. So I mean,
I think the
I
problem
honestly-
is they've already sort of tapped
yes,
their character
Correct.
base. I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, sure, Werewolf by Night or Ghost Rider or something smaller like Daredevil, but
Yeah.
they're already doing TV properties like that. And of course, then they all have the burden of being connected. It all has to be connected. While it was a neat trick at first, I think it's really limited what they're able to do.
I mean, as
Well-
far as Daredevil's concerned, I think my prediction, which I got creamed online for, was based on Netflix data. Netflix had already squeezed that lemon dry.
Yeah.
And I said that it's not going to work on Disney because it's already done. And I feel vindicated.
Well, and they already tried shows like Hawkeye, and that didn't do
Yeah,
that
who
well.
cares?
So the
No, but-
Well,
idea,
it's because the Disney vibe doesn't quite jive with that
No.
Netflix world. That's part of the problem.
No, or CW World.
yeah,
Yes. And because otherwise, Paul, I actually think that because what you say is relevant as far as like how Netflix has already bled Daredevil dry, but at the same time, I think there was enough of a gap to where that normally would have helped, right? So like there would have been some, because the people did want Daredevil back right after Spider-Man No Way Home. That's the problem. Spider-Man No Way Home was 5 fucking years ago, right? And on top of that, Marvel has been destroyed by so many other things in the meantime. Had they had the show ready to go and dropped right after that movie come out,
yeah.
the show probably would have done 10 times better. But now we're at this point where everything Marvel, people are just kind of like, they're kind of poking it with a stick going, I'll wait and see what happens here for a little bit.
They've
I think that's the
destroyed
same
faith
thing
in
with-
the brand.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's the same thing with Thunderbolts. I think right now Thunderbolts wouldn't even be more than just like, oh, it was a cute, fun little side story, basically, if everything else in Marvel was working still. But just like with Star Wars and Andor, we're talking about it now and the way we're talking about it just because Andor wouldn't, the whole Andor sexual assault thing wouldn't even be a conversation if everything else Star Wars was good, because that'd just be another one of Star Wars things, and that's the adult Star Wars, and kids don't need to watch it, right? It's just the one thing you avoid. That would be kind of the same thing with Thunderbolts. It could be something you could avoid. It could be something you watch. But that's the problem. Marvel is so interconnected. The homework has become so heavy that people see it as work, right? Like I joke about it all the time, but I'm honest when I say that, right? I don't want to have to go seek out all this stuff. If I'm interested in it and I got the time and I'm that passionate about the subject, then I will seek it out. But I don't want to have to be forced to.
Yeah.
Right? Just give me a freaking movie. Just give me a movie where it has an A, B, and C story plot. Sure, I may be familiar with most of the characters or not. It doesn't matter. You give me the 10-second Stan Lee spiel where you give me enough information to where I know everything I need to know about the character. But the problem is, and I really got to ask Paulie and Andre on this, do you have to have seen all those things? Are you lost? Is there things that are reference to, or is this movie just pick up with the idea that you can kind of not have to have known these characters before?
Yeah, but Paul had to exit for a moment there. He'll be back for the spoiler talk. But as for me, you can see the movie without having seen the necessary homework. The movie will work without it, but there will be some characters you don't know, because that's what annoyed me particularly with Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character. That fine, I know that she's the head of the CIA, but I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about her. I don't know her backstory. I don't know her relation to any of these characters.
So they don't give him the 10-second Stan Lee spiel where you kind of get a
no.
background.
Same with well, she's being impeached at the start of things, and same thing with replacement Captain America, who is better than official Captain America. I don't know his backstory. I'm told that he shot a passerby or something, and that he was Captain America for a hot minute there. But I don't know anything else about him other than that we learn over the course of the movie. We learn that he's having troubles in his marriage and stuff like that. So, of course, yeah, some things are picked up over the movie. So with him wasn't so bad. But it was mostly Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character. I was like, who the fuck is this? And I mean, as in, I don't know the character. I know her position, but I don't know the character.
It's kind of funny because the superhero movie has had a few phases, right, already. We're technically in what you would call the second or third phase, depending on your point of view. And what killed it in its last phase, with the Batman era, the initial one, was having too many villains, too many people in a movie, not enough, the audience just wasn't interested enough because you had their attention spans being spread out over too many things. And now you could get it to work in certain things like Guardians of the Galaxy. The way James Gunn was able to juggle all those characters was a fucking miracle, right? The Suicide Squad film, the original one, suffered from the same kind of problem.
Yeah.
When you have too many characters in a movie, it's too tough for the audience to figure out who they're supposed to follow. And when you're throwing in other random characters, especially if you're recasting anybody, that's another thing that I hate. And this has nothing to do with Thunderbolts, but it's just a pet peeve of mine, is when you recast a character and you don't tell the audience who the fuck they are now. Because they did a piss poor job of doing that with the Thunderbolt Ross character through the change between him and Harrison Ford. I'm still curious how many people realize that's the same fucking character. Because they don't do a real good job of telling you that in the movie.
Yeah.
Unless you're paying enough attention. Because I don't think they realize how much the general audience, they just go by faces and they don't know names and shit. And they don't know the interconnectivity of most of these characters. And they're not going to follow all this shit because they don't care. They're just like, show me, and then I can move on. Right. So that's what's one thing to me I think is really hurting the superhero thing, is this having too many characters on screen at once and having to follow too many characters. Because I guess I have to ask, who is the central character of the story? Because I've heard it's what's her face, and then it's
That's replacement Black Widow.
Yeah,
it's an ensemble piece, but but if you have to choose one, it's replacement Black Widow.
You imagine if you went to an amusement park just to ride the rides, and someone said, no, you have to ride these in order so that you understand the story that's being told here. And you go, I just want to get on the roller coaster. I mean, can I just go in and have fun and raise my hands and say, man, that was fun. Yay, let's do it again. I think the homework analogy is apt with this. And even if it's like what you just said, Andre, you don't necessarily have to have seen the movies to enjoy this. People now feel like maybe they do.
I love that. I love that analogy. Sorry, you got to ride the teacup ride before you go onto Space Mountain.
You ride the bumper cars yet? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen have you ridden the bumper cars or done the teacup before? You did the
teacup
Small
made
World
me throw up. So.
Yeah. But, I got to agree with Andy Masterson. They should have started this recasting the same people back then. Nothing against William Hurt. Great actor. But Sam Elliott nailed that. Like, he was Thunderbolt Ross in that Hulk movie. If anything, he was the best casted part.
I was just thinking, wouldn't it have been cool if they had taken Harrison Ford and put him back in an earlier scene, like a flashback with Liv Tyler?
That would have helped.
Yeah.
It would have helped.
Yeah.
See, and that's the other thing people kept asking is, what the fuck is Liv Tyler doing here?
Right. Right. I got to go back to 2008 and watch.
Because most people don't even realize The Incredible Hulk is a Marvel film in the sense of the MCU. They still more people associated that prior to all this with the Eric Bana Hulk, thinking it was a sequel to that.
Which it honestly never was.
Did Robert Downey Jr. appear in the mid-credits?
He did, but how many people do you think actually watched through the credits?
Well, I was about to say,
to be fair, it's actually in the movie. It's not a mid-credit scene. It's towards the very end of the movie.
It is. That's true. It's
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but even then, I remember some people going, huh? Like they didn't quite get it.
I'm
But until it
confused.
made sense. But even then, it was so far in between. I don't think people still drew that connection enough. That because we even still had questions when the new Captain America movie come out about Thunderbolt Ross. I remember answering it a few times on the show about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, is there any final thoughts before we get into any spoiler ground, or are we saving spoilers for the end of the show?
Yeah, no, we'll do spoilers in about 5 minutes. Let's do a couple of super chats, and then when Paul
Yeah.
is back, we'll do spoilers.
Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle, send us a super sticker. Thank you for that, Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle. Go141 sends in 20 Mexican and says, Tom, do you wear your pants while on Mead Radio? I don't know. That's for you to find out and me to know. DOA says, DOA 1701 actually is the name here, sorry. Sends in 499, says, so what you're saying about mental illness is Marvel out-Snydered Zack Snyder. Ugh. That's a lot to say in one.
Did Snyder have like a mental illness theme?
No, but I think he's associating it with the worst parts of the Snyder fandom.
Moroseness, darkness,
And the moroseness. And yeah, Snyder does like to get into that kind of weird aspect, I guess, a little bit. But if that's what you mean, DOA, maybe. Then he follows it up with, did Wyatt Russell channel his dad's Jack Burton and declare he was feeling invincible while they were in the elevator? That's a reference to Big Trouble in Little China for those who don't know the character.
Is Wyatt Russell? He is the actor that plays not Nomads.
Yeah.
U.S. agent. Yeah. Okay. That's funny.
I didn't even know that was Kurt Russell's kid until recently. Like more recent.
On that
until he did
Monarch TV show.
The Monarch TV show, because like I saw him in 22 Jump Street and a couple other things, and he's fucking hilarious in 22 Jump Street.
He's
right?
great.
Like he's fucking great in that. And then I've seen him in a few other things, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, that's Kurt Russell's kid? Okay. I don't really see the resemblance up front, but then once you know it, you're like, okay, I kind of see it now.
Yeah,
Kind of like with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Is Goldie his mom?
I don't remember if Goldie's his mom. I think so.
Okay.
I think so, because did she have a kid, I think, prior to them getting together? And I think all his kids are with her, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. He might also have one prior to. But I think that Jack is theirs because I think he's younger than me.
Was Kate Hudson his daughter?
No, that's the one that was hers with what's his name? Shit. The rock star guy.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the Hudson brothers.
Yes. And I can't remember which one, but yes.
Yeah. But
that I knew for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt had all his kids up in Muskoka. Up where we are. Never mind.
And are all his Goldies, or did he have one prior to as well? I can't remember.
No,
So
that
they
I
have
don't know.
4 kids themselves.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. They've been together since I was a kid. So and Jack is younger than me. So yeah.
Bill
and when
Hudson. That's who she was married to. Bill Hudson. Yeah.
Bill Hudson.
Bill, okay.
Right.
Yep.
And when they had the cottage up on Lake Rosso, which is one of the most expensive cottage lakes in Canada, just a gigantic mansion that was on the edge of the lake. They were actually at the opening into the next lake, Lake Muskoka, and it would just there were just tons of boats going by, going, "Hey, look, there's Kurt and Goldie's cottage." I don't think they liked it. It's one of the reasons they moved out of the region here. But they were famous for having a cottage up in Canada.
Well, they're one of the few couples that have made it this long.
Yeah.
They've always joked about never getting married, but they never have.
Nope, never did. He's looking better than her, though, I have to say.
Well, yeah, that kind of happens with men and women with age usually.
And isn't she quite a bit older than him?
She was a few years older than him, I believe. Yes, not by a whole lot, I don't think, but a little.
She
bit.
was funny. Let me tell you, I saw
old
rerun of Laugh-In, and was she good?
You know what I was reminded of the other day, Paul, is how big of an actress she was back in the day. And then people talk about how, female lead. Like, she did so many big movies. She was such a big actress that she got top billing over Chevy fucking Chase in the 80s. In Foul Play, she got top billing, not him.
It was Man Overboard and the Dead Wives Club,
She got top billing over Kurt Russell, I think, in Overboard, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where they met.
Yes.
That's where they met.
But-
And yeah, she was so good. She really was fantastic.
Yeah, she was huge. I mean, Private Benjamin was a huge movie.
Yep.
Wildcats was really good. Didn't she get nominated for Private Benjamin?
I think so.
I was gonna
I
say, I
think
think her and the chick who played the sergeant, I think both got nominated, if I remember right. See, that back when the Academy actually acknowledged comedy kids.
Yeah, and I mean, again, who's acting like, who's taken her mantle since?
I mean, her daughter seemed like for a while she was kind of going to, but then she kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. No,
Because she was doing like the 10 ways to lose a guy and all that kind of stuff. Those kind of movies and stuff, yeah. But anyway, Ruby Hoof gifted a membership, so thank you for that, Ruby Hoof. We appreciate that. Sorry we went on a little tangent there. Paul and I do that because we're old. I remember that, 1942.
Those were the days.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mizzy Buddy says, Marvel, as you have all pointed out time and time again, Marvel just doesn't have the same draw anymore. They're in the same boat as Star Wars now. In fact,
Yeah.
I mean,
Brand's
if you want to
ruined.
go by ratings, Star Wars is actually in better shape, believe it or not. But
I don't know if it's in much better shape, but
not by much. I think the Acolyte was more so a lot of people hate watching it than
Again, it's it's a weird business. You have to give people a reason to watch something. So I'm just going to throw it out there. If Andor was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, I'd be really way more interested in watching it, because then all the family stuff at the beginning would be like The Godfather,
right.
Well, you had Harvey Weinstein's associate directing Acolyte. Wasn't that enough?
Ooh, ooh.
Yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, but she picked nothing up from him, obviously, because I didn't see one good-looking chick in that whole
Hey,
show.
listen, guess who Harvey gave a leg up to? Tarantino.
That's
So,
true.
I mean,
I thought it was gonna be some actress because I'm sure he gave them both.
I
legs
wasn't
up.
making a leg up joke. That wasn't going to be a leg up joke. But there's an awful lot of people, phenomenal films, unfortunately, that he is.
Oh yeah.
No, I agree. No doubt.
Oh, he's responsible for Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, just to name a
Yep.
couple.
I mean, just because you're an unrepentant pervert doesn't mean you don't have creative savvy and production capabilities.
And based on my time in Hollywood, I would say that's almost a prerequisite to being good at your job. I hate
It's a feature.
To say
It's not a bug. That's right.
That's an old style thing. I mean, you talk about the old movie moguls, and I won't get into it because I don't want to get a message secretly from Andre. But I mean, a lot of them were perverts.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, we've talked about it before, and
I've
made the joke, and others have.
Necessity? I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, not to make too much light of it, but like we've all said the same thing. Like this kind of shit didn't happen when Harvey Weinstein was in Hollywood, and then you look at pictures of like Rachel Zegler and what's her face, Fleabag, and shit like that, and whatnot. Anyway, we all know the jokes. Shadow Dancer, the Red Mage, sends in 5 and says, "As for the Thunderbolts, are there finally any men in the Marvel movie? Well, they're all secondary. It sounds like to me."
yeah, well, you have like the Timu Captain America and the Red Guardian or Red Wave or whatever it's called. So you have those two, and you have Bucky, and they're all good. They're all good.
Do they have moments of masculinity, Andre?
Well, they have moments of badassness, all of them, and then at other times they're also like a little bit like humiliated, but not in a bad way. It's never like really bad.
It's like Ant-Man.
Kind of, yeah. Like there's no like they're not humiliated in any bad way. Well, you Red Guardian a little, yeah. That's like the mid-credit scene. It's like that's just like awkward and embarrassing, but they're not emasculated in any way. They're not. No.
I think Civil War was probably the last really gritty, masculine Marvel movie, perhaps.
Yeah,
Possibly.
So they fare well in this sense in this movie.
Okay.
This movie does not set men back. Let's put it that way. Doesn't push them forward, but doesn't put them back.
Does it feel like any of that was hacked out? Like, does it feel like there may have been
No, not really.
Kind of plot. Okay, I was just
No, it doesn't feel like there ever was.
because this
anything
movie's been
woke here.
done for a little while. That's why I ask. So
It doesn't feel like there ever was anything really woke here.
okay. And then we've got Jason Webster who says, "Hi guys, how depressing was Prozac bolts? Well, you're not far off there from what it sounds like."
Yeah. Well, and we'll get into that as soon as Paulie is back here. But as for me, no, I was pleasantly surprised. So I didn't find it depressing at all. Like Captain America: Brave New World, that was depressing. This wasn't. It was like, wow, of all the Marvel movies, this is the least bad, best of the bad. That's what I'm going to say about this. Best of the bad.
Which isn't saying much at all, really.
True.
Mr. Tickle Trunk sends in 5 Canadian, says Disney gave us a 9-course banquet with phase 1 through 3, phase 4 through 6. They shit on the table. I don't care that the dessert is now good. Clean the table, right? And we don't even know if the dessert is any good. Sure,
Yeah, we don't.
It kind of looks
exactly.
good,
Yeah.
but I mean, the Fantastic Four might taste like donkey shit once you actually take a bite of it.
Yeah.
And I have zero hyper excitement for the Avengers movies to come after that.
Yeah,
I think at least with Fantastic Four, I've got Andre's approach being very hyped about it going in, and so that's why Andre came out going, okay, this wasn't bad.
I always make a point of that. Whenever I go in expecting something to be bad, then sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. And this has happened before. There are many times where I have liked movies that absolutely everyone else have hated, like Black Adam. I think Black Adam is freaking awesome, and I expected that movie to be dreadful. And if I didn't expect it to be dreadful, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much.
You know, the beauty of Black Adam, though, compared to a lot of these other films we're getting, is that it was pretty basic, right? It was A, B, C, no extraneous bullshit in it. It wasn't about a bunch of cameos, really, outside of the one that was at the end of the film. That was pretty self-contained. You had one main character to follow with the Rock, you know, and his supporting cast was a supporting cast. So as far as a movie goes, it actually works, right? Like, Andre, I agree with you. The Rock is not that bad the Black Adam movie is not that bad. My only issue with it was we had that Sylvester Stallone movie that came out, what was it, half a year or so before that was the same exact fucking plot. Like down to the kid and the story and how it all it was almost exactly the same. The only thing that was different is they didn't have
Samaritan or whatever it was called.
Yeah, Samaritan. Because the only difference was they didn't have a Black Adam brother to go, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing it was missing. Otherwise, it was pretty much the same movie. But you're right. It was, like, mostly harmless. It didn't really deviate too far from basic plot points to where it didn't feel like it was trying to preach the audience or overdo it or reset the DC universe, despite that's what The Rock was trying to do, as we've learned down the road. But
so lower your expectations.
When it comes to Marvel right now, that is the key to a good experience, or as good as an experience you possibly can.
I don't think we need to lower our expectations. I think they need to slow the fuck down and stop overdoing this and get back to basics. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Just
and get someone who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Lower your expectations.
In the meantime, until then, of course, it shouldn't be like that. We should have high expectations. They should be exceeded. But until Marvel are able to do that, they need to fire everyone and freaking get people who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. But now that Marty Latino Slant, and I fucked up.
What?
What are you afraid of drowning? What you got a life vest on for?
Marty.
Oh,
Marty McFly. Look.
It's chilly. It's chilly and cloudy in LA today.
No, I like that. It's Marty McFly vest.
Yeah. What's awesome. With the life vest?
What's with the life vest, kid? You in the Navy?
Yeah. I have a Pepsi free.
If you want a Pepsi, you got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it.
Damn right.
The number.
They don't even make Pepsi free anymore. That joke doesn't even land now.
No.
So, kids are like, "What the fuck is Pepsi free?"
I wanted a scene. I wanted to do a scene in a horror movie where the teens rush into a shed, and the only way they can get out is to figure out a way to use the dial phone that's in there, and they can't. and then the guy breaks through and slashes them to death with an axe.
Watch, that's some like gimmick in the new Bloodlines, the Final Destination movie coming out. That'd be hilarious, Paul. If I see it and it's in there, I'll let you know.
I got a huge response last night. The Final Destination Bloodlines trailer.
Ah,
I think that's going to be a big movie. It's getting a lot of buzz. But you were saying something, Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say that. I can't remember. I'll remember it later.
It was
I
about the
lost
dial phone, so I don't know if that'll help your train of thought.
No, I know it was no. I'll figure it out.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, you were saying that Bloodlines is getting a good response from the audience for the trailer. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of buzz around it. I think it's going to do pretty well.
We showed up. We showed up as close to like start time of the movie, so we did get one or two trailers. It's just they just go on so long, and yeah, it looks pretty epic, and the audience had a huge reaction to it. And like I said, it was pretty much a sold out crowd last night for a 7 p.m. show. Yeah.
Not for this, for which one?
No, for Sinners last night.
So I was going to say Sinners. That's I just wanted to be clear for people. Yeah, because I knew.
Yeah, it was my second time, and then Romy's first time. Sinners last night.
Okay. So did you? We got a few more super chats here. We're going to get through, and then we're going to get into some spoilers, I guess. Okay. Let's see here. We've got. Where did we leave off? Okay, this is where I think we left off. Jason Webster says, from Marvel Films, Prozac bolts, sort of saving the world after their group therapy session. Pretty much. And then Bucky Cat says, like I super chatted on Pro's show, I ain't paying for a movie that I have to watch with a bunch of Disney Plus crap in order to understand what's going on. Yeah, so he's basically saying the homework thing is turning him off. Yeah. So, and then we got Mr. T again. How you doing, Mr. T?
I will say, out of all the ones where you got to see everything, this one is pretty somewhat self-contained.
Yeah. The only thing that I felt that was like missing out on was Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character. But of course, if you haven't seen this movie, this is where you need to have seen not just Black Widow, but in order to understand Ghost, you also need to have seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I actually think if her jokes landed, you would just get that she's just a slimy CIA head, trying to get out of, being, she's on trial or something, like they're trying to get rid of her.
Yeah, they're trying to impeach her. So I just think that if her comedy had landed, you're like, oh, okay, she's just this type of character. Like you didn't need the homework. It would help, but yeah, that's what. But here's the thing: when I know there is homework and I haven't done it, I don't know how much I need it or not. That's part of the problem.
That's true.
Like, for instance, when you have seen it, then you know how much is needed or not. But when you haven't seen it, you don't know how much you've actually missed out on.
Yeah, because even with John Walker, Wyatt Russell's character, it hurts a little deeper if you've seen what he did in that TV show. But you still get the idea that all these guys have some level of shame of who they are and what they've done. So yeah. Rocky Road to Dublin. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Tickletrunk says Marvel's style is now DC, and DC will be Marvel's. Could be.
I'll see.
Could be. Go One for One sends in another 50 Mexican and says the biggest waste of Marvel Generation 4 was wasting vacuum caused by the snap, which was ground for Civil War and the level conflict to street level again. Oh yeah, that was a wasted opportunity. There were so many different things they could have done with that. So anyway, keep moving along here. We got Big Gator who sends in 5 and says, I've heard that this movie is actually Black Widow 2. Why is Marvel using other titles to make sequels? That's actually kind of an astute observation, because I don't think you're technically wrong. And they've been doing this in other things too, in other forms. So this is part of the problem.
Well,
Yeah,
you gotta have
everything is
Scarlett Johansson to make this a sequel, don't you?
Yeah, the one movie you really need to have seen is Black Widow 2. If you haven't seen Black Widow 2, no, sorry, Black Widow 1.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the first Black Widow, you're completely lost in this movie.
Wow. Wow.
If you haven't seen Black Widow, there's absolutely no point in seeing this because you won't get who any of these freaking people are. You will have no idea what's going on. This movie 100% assumes you have seen Black Widow. That
I
is
honestly-
Please don't make me
absolutely
finish
vital.
Black Widow. Please don't.
And I'm not wholly convinced that Scarlett Johansson was never going to come back until that lawsuit. I think that's what killed it.
And we did not finish Black Widow. I remember we were watching it. It was just
I
like
didn't either.
very, very generic
Well,
and just got boring.
There's a setup at the end of Black Widow that kind of hints that she's still alive. And she was recently asked about it, and she's basically like, yeah, no, that ship has sailed, in so many words. So that tells me that, yeah, there probably was plans to bring her back, but once that lawsuit happened, that all went out the window. That's my speculation on that. So maybe she was even meant to be a part of this and just, yeah, fuck that up. Rambam 3000 says, how about Michael Fassbender as Dr. Doom? I don't think he's a bad choice.
Not my first choice, but not a
Not
bad
my first choice, but not a bad choice. Yeah.
Anyone
would go
here
with-
see Black Bag?
No, I heard it was pretty good. But it did terrible at the cinemas.
Yeah, we saw
Did I
it.
see that?
It was okay. It was just the actors were great. I think the story was just pretty much spy couple in therapy talking to each other. Like
Yeah, okay. I don't think I saw it, but now it rings a bell. Yeah.
it's still out. It's still out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jason Webster says, need a good Snake Plissken prequel with Wyatt Russell as Snake. Now is the time for it. That or Snake Jr. Mr. Godzilla says there's a comic series going on now called Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. And at this point, let's make that a Goji and can just reboot MCU. I'd watch that.
As of right now, it's Disney destroying the Marvel Universe.
Sorry, what'd you say, Andre?
I was like right now, it's Disney ruining the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, no shit. Let's just watch Godzilla destroy it like SimCity.
Yeah.
Pilgrim Media sends in a buck, doesn't say anything, just sends in a buck. Hyperguy 2 says, hey, Tom, you excited for the newest edition of Call of Duty? Oh, no. Yeah, I did post about that. So for those who don't know, all my favorites are in Call of Duty now. Jay and Silent Bob and Seth Rogen in some gay-ass outfit. And I posted on it, I said, fuck Seth Rogen, but the sad part about Kevin Smith is all he needs to do is apologize to us, especially people like Clownfish and others that he started shit with online and stuff, like me specifically too. And I think a lot of people would forgive him. In fact, there was a time where I was going to make the effort to try and talk to him and see if he wasn't interested in kind of a one-on-one, but it just didn't pan out. But yeah, no, why is Seth Rogen in Call of Duty? Jay and Silent Bob, I kind of understand, right? They always pop up in goofy shit. But what the fuck is Seth Rogen doing in it? I don't know. I'll figure out that one. Anybody know? Nobody. Pilgrim Media says the Acolyte was a payoff for the director. Potentially.
That certainly
Soul
wasn't
Knight-
for Disney.
Yeah, Soul Nightmare. Yeah, right. Soul Nightmare says, wait, Black Adam is a Black Adam movie about Black Adam despite extra non-Black Adam characters and it's not a problem. Sounds kind of like Superman. Maybe. Pack and Proton says at the start of the show, Andre went into Seinfeld impression mentioning Dreyfus. I don't know what these fucking people are. Or who these fucking people are.
Yeah,
What are they
kind of.
doing in my Marvel movie? Who are you? Pilgrim Media says, imagine how good AI video will be in 10 years. Oh, fuck. Just imagine a few years, not even 10 years.
Imagine 3 months.
Yeah, Admiral Teague has been a member for 29 months. Thank you for the support. And then Jason Webster says, wait, Disney Star Wars steals from Rebel Moon, Wheat Wars, go figure. Disney can't get any lower, surely.
Oh, they can't.
Oh, I'm sure they could. Indeed. But before you guys get into spoilers on the Thunderbolts, I wanted to show this video. The way Paulie's dressed, it kind of reminded me of it. This guy at Universal's great, I guess, who does Doc Brown. Look at this guy.
I sure hope I don't see Marty McFly from the future coming back to the past to tell me I sent him, but he's back from the future. That's not what you're here to tell me, is it? Yeah, Marty's Mexican now. So is it Martine McFly? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
There you go. That was just a joke for Paulie, since it, yeah.
Delicious.
Was that like a fan?
Marty's Mexican now. Yeah, he was just must have been standing there dressed like Marty or something,
Gotcha.
and the guy just played into it perfectly.
Perfect. That was quick.
Yeah. So anyhow, spoiler time.
Now
I
wait a
guess.
minute. Is
Oh.
Paul gonna stick around through this?
Nope.
Are you gonna leave?
I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I'm
All
going
right.
to leave. I have a business to run anyway. Oh,
All
you're
right.
tickling my ear there.
Your rear
All right,
or
well,
your
thanks.
ear?
Yeah, well,
Did you just fart?
Anyways,
thanks for joining us.
I'll
his
listen.
business
It's always
policy.
nice to be joined. I appreciate that. Have some fun with the spoilers, and I'll see you later, guys.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll
Have
be
a
able to
good
talk
night.
about the movie on
Take care.
Friday. Bye.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, we
Yeah.
can't wait to hear your thoughts. Take care of yourself.
Indeed. Yeah, let's throw up a spoiler banner here.
All right. Let me see what I got here. Banner.
And then you guys can just ask what you want to know. So, Chris, let's begin with you. What do you want to know? And anyone, you feel free to super chat in your questions where you want spoilers. So, Chris,
So what I want to know is about that end credit scene.
the end credit scene. So not the mid credit scene, but the end credit
Well,
scene. The good
know
one
what?
or the bad one?
No qualification. Just tell me about the endings.
Okay. So you want mid credit or end credit?
Yes is the answer to your question.
Okay, fine. The mid-credit scene, this was the one that's really embarrassing. That's the Red Guardian, who finally has gotten his wish. He's now a real superhero, and he's on the cereal boxes, and he's supposed to be a celebrity. And he really, and like any celebrity, I'm sure Paulie will have seen the guide. He's desperate to be recognized in the street. So he's in a supermarket, in his local supermarket. He's looking a little bit more fresh and stuff like that. And he's desperate for this random passerby woman to recognize him from the cereal box. Like, look at me, I'm the Red Guardian, I'm a superhero. Here, you bring this to your kids, it's nutritious. And she's like really awkward, like, who's this freak? She doesn't recognize him. I wasn't recognized. And he was so desperate to be recognized for being a hero. He says earlier in the movie that is his big dream, to be useful and to be recognized. And he wasn't recognized. That's a mid-credit scene. That was really embarrassing.
It sounds very mid, actually. So
Yeah. The post-credit scene, that's then the Thunderbolts team talking about a squad. This takes place 14 months after the movie. We are given a time frame. So the post-credit scene is 14 months later. Now, there's another spoiler in here that we'll get to, so I'm not going to get into that just yet. But then the team that we now know as Thunderbolts, they're talking about a squabble that they have, a copyright squabble with the current Captain America. And while they're discussing that, they pick up a signal from space. There's a spaceship that is coming in from another dimension. And now we see this spaceship that's coming in, and has a big ass 4 on it. So that's the Fantastic Four entering our universe, our 616 universe. That's the post-credit scene.
So you don't see the actors, you just see the ship coming.
No, you just see the ship,
Okay.
not the actors. And you also apparently hear the theme. I don't remember it, but I did register that in the end credit scene there was listed the Fantastic Four theme. So obviously you hear that when you see their spaceship coming into our dimension.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's like sometime later, 14, 18 months, whatever it said.
14 months. 14
I thought
months.
that was weird that they put that up there. I don't know what's going on. And they're in where they're at, I believe, is the old Avengers now redone tower.
Yes, it's the old Avengers Tower.
And they have Avenger suits on, because by then there's another spoiler that's already been spoiled at the end of, which is the Thunderbolts asterisk, right? is that they're the new Avengers.
Ugh.
So they have their little Avenger logos, their little outfits. Dave Harbour comes in with an Avengers tracksuit, and he's trying to like change the name of it so they don't get copyrighted so much. I
Yeah,
thought that was funny.
because that's what official Captain America has as well. Was like, you're guys, you're not new Avengers. We're the real Avengers, because he has set up a different Avengers team. So there's now
Yeah.
two Avengers. There's the
Right.
official Avengers, evidently led by Anthony Mackie, but we do not know that team yet. And then there's the new Avengers, established by Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character,
Right. And so
so that she won't be impeached.
yeah, and then there's like some banter about, just what's going on. Is it space or outer space? And then so it's outer space. Well, look, you can look it up. Like everyone got real dumb for a second. Like just silly dialogue. And then Bob's there, who is a Century, and it's 14 months later, and I guess he still doesn't know who he is. Correct, Andre?
Well, he's a mental patient, and he just has to be there because he's going to destroy the world if they
Right.
let him from his side, because now he's attached to those people.
Right. So, yeah, you like that scene?
Which scene?
The second end credit, because I didn't like any of it.
I thought that was okay. I didn't mind it too much.
I never thought I would be the negative one on a Midnight's Edge stream.
You're the negative Nancy, sir.
So that's, to me, that's the best end credit scene I've seen in a long time.
Wow. Cameo porn?
Nope.
Nope.
None.
But they did. Didn't they just ruin the ending for Fantastic Four?
I don't know that they ruined it, because all we see is that they have moved into our universe. We don't know what happened to their universe. Maybe they went on a joyride. Maybe their whole universe is destroyed. We don't know the details of their their getting up in or getting into our universe. We just know that they end up there somehow. So that is obviously spoiled, but the details of that we don't know.
There's a shot in the Fantastic Four trailer which shows the same ship jettisoning away from like an exploding star or planet. It looked pretty bad, like pretty dire. So I'm wondering if that's a connection. I thought it looked cool. Don't get me wrong. I thought the spaceship looked cool, man. It was, but yeah. Okay. What other spoilers? Spoiler, Tommy.
Yeah, Tom, got any questions on spoilers?
He doesn't care.
Yeah, I know he doesn't.
How was the popcorn buckets?
We don't do popcorn buckets, so that's one that is for Paulie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No popcorn bucket there. I mean, I got a ticket for a free popcorn and a drink, but not a bucket, no poster. I did this totally unrelated. I saw an accountant the other day, and I was in line to buy something, and the guy next to me, I swear to God, bought a Snow White bucket, and I like that.
You laughed at him, like you pointed.
I didn't laugh, no, but I did did a double take really quick, and I was like, okay, I think he's getting it for like a female family member or something, Like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
Red Hulk is mentioned at the beginning of the film, and so in saying the president just turned into the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
So that's the timeline of the movie when it starts, right?
And Marvel do keep track of the timeline, and that is why they also specify 14 months, because they know in their internal official timeline exactly which month this movie takes place. So we also know that it's been a few months after the events of Captain America Brave New World, with that embarrassing Red Hulk, which was a complete and total shit show and disaster. But anyway, they know. So yeah, okay, fine.
Who was the villain in this?
Your dark side, Chris.
Yes, mental health,
Seriously.
No real antagonist.
I can give you the setup here. Basically, what
Yeah.
happens is this is now a world without Avengers, and so Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, she has kind of like probably exceeded her powers in trying to create Homelander. She wants to create Superman, and then she has exceeded her powers a little bit in doing that, which is why they want to impeach her. And then she has to clean up all the traces of her own actions in doing this, which is why she sends all of the team that we see in the movie. Every single one of them are hired to basically go and clean up, kill the scientists and everything that were involved in making Homelander, basically, and finally kill each other while she kills them all. So basically, she wants to kill them all. So they're not the Suicide Squad, as in they're being sent off on dangerous missions. No. She wants to destroy them because they're now a threat to her. And then at the same time, they actually then uncover Homelander, one of the test persons that was given like this superhero formula to make him super duper ultra powerful. Unfortunately, since he's a test person, he is someone that is a really messed up. He suffers various personality disorders. He's depressed. He's used meth and stuff like that in the past. They never meant for him to actually be this new Homelander superhero. No, they just wanted to test it to make sure that it was safe to give the good people, and then destroying half afterwards. But then they end up with this guy because they destroy everything that went into the creation of this superhero thing. And then they're stuck with this mental nutcase. And this is then the mental aspect, because he is then someone that forces the new Black Widow to confront her own post-traumatic stress and her own depression, because she used to be of the opinion that no, she doesn't want to talk. She just wants to bottle everything up. That's her arc. That's what she recommends to this guy, this Bob, when she first meets him. Oh, so you're having problems? Well, just pretend like nothing. Just bottle it up. And her arc, after speaking with her dad and stuff like that, is that no, you have to share your feelings. You have to talk. Sharing is good, and you feel better. So you just need to cry it out. You need a good hug. That, incidentally, is how they defeat the villain. That's the psychotherapy session. That she basically gives him psychotherapy, and they finally defeat him with a group hug.
Yeah, that's literally how they win, is hugs, not thugs.
Yeah.
Sounds
And that's
awful.
also why they have to keep him around, because they're his friends now. If they ditch the loser, then probably he's going to freak out and destroy the world or something. But he's completely useless, because when he's in a happy state, then like he blacks out and he gets like memory losses and stuff. And when he's reasonably happy, then he's useless as a superhero. But when he's upset, he becomes superhero, but he becomes dangerous. They'd rather keep him around as a pet to keep happy.
Right. And backing up with Bob is they alluded to that he was an addict.
Yeah.
On meth, and and kind of just really lost in life. That's where he took up the money offer for the for the experiment that Louis Dreyfus was doing. So there's a whole thing where, and you see in the trailer how people on the New York streets get like a black blotch. They turn the black blotches on the, like a stain on the ground. Did you guys check any of that out?
Yeah, I was surprised anyone would come back from basically being shadowified.
Yeah. So
That looked pretty lethal.
Right. It was pretty resolute. Like, okay, well, I guess they came back from that as well. So the Thunderbolts, to save Bob, decide to go into that.
Yeah.
And find Bob. By finding Bob, you can like maybe, because by then he's turned Bob, or the Sentry has turned New York into a black a black hole.
Yeah, into a black depressive state. His depression spreads. His mental illness spreads, and it's sucking up other people. That's kind of like what's going on there. And
So there's
so they have
different.
to go into his psyche.
Mhm.
And they have to tell him that to share his feelings. It's good to share, and they love him anyway. And he's among friends, and they'll take care of him, even though he's literally a complete freaking stranger. And then group hug, and then it's all fine.
Yep.
I'm getting clinical depression just listening to this. And so they didn't use any cool, like, a fun moment where they pull out AC/DC's Thunderstruck or something.
Oh no.
You know,
Yeah, that would've been dope.
AC/DC, I remember when, what was it, Back in Black was in the first Iron Man movie, and I thought, oh my gosh, this hits hard. You know, it's just got that, it's got what I want to hear in a superhero movie, right? And so there's no moment like that in this.
There are,
No.
but there's no musical to it. Like,
Okay.
you know,
So there is fighting. There is some superheroics.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they're really good. There's just not a lot of it, and there's this one moment, Andre, where they publicly save people and they get applauded, and that
Okay.
was, to me, was like the best part of the film.
That feels like the theme that Marvel's going with, because in the Fantastic Four, at least what I've been able to ascertain from the trailers, it looks like they're heroes of the world, that they've been saving people. And I don't necessarily think they've explored that in the MCU, heroics being praised.
Everything nowadays is a deconstruction of everything.
Yeah.
So it's
I'd like to see some reconstruction, wouldn't you?
that's exactly what I thought I was gonna get. I did
Mhm.
not think I was gonna get this whole thing here.
Gotcha.
Even though, like what we said earlier, the men weren't emasculated, and all that stuff, and they were flexing a little bit because there were some badass moves that Bucky does,
Yeah.
Red Guardian, Team America do. They do. They were flexing, and no one made fun of them.
That should be table stakes, though, right? I mean, that's just sort of like that. There's your entry level. Now do something cool, beyond that.
Yeah, correct.
How
Right.
did
That's
they
the
get-
very least we should expect. And I thought
Right.
I was going to get that. If I was just to have gotten that, because it's like, well, don't you just want to be entertained? Is it entertaining? It's like, yes and no.
Yeah. How did they connect with Ghost? How did they get the team together, so to speak?
They try to kill each other.
Okay.
They are literally all sent in with
Mhm.
basically, like, you have now cleaned up all of the mistakes of
Mhm.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but here's your target. You have to kill this one person, and all of them, they have to kill one of the others. So, like, for instance, new Black Widow, she is sent in to kill Ghost. Ghost is sent in to kill Taskmaster. She incidentally is successful. That's why they no longer have to deal with gender bent Taskmaster, which was a complete and total disaster
That was silly.
from Black
Yeah.
Widow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's successful. Ghost is successful and kills off Taskmasters. That's Taskmaster done. Then we know all of them were basically there to kill everyone else, to clean up all their messes, and then to be incinerated. So basically how they end up together is, okay, now we know we are all here to kill each other for her to burn our charred remains. So let us now just team up and get the hell out of here and to move on with our lives. And that's their motivation.
And that's where they discover Bob as well, because he
Yeah.
pops up out of nowhere, out of one of the boxes,
Got
Yeah.
it.
in the bunker. I don't know about you, Andre. I actually enjoyed that whole montage, and then them trying to get out. I actually enjoyed it, and then them in the desert. I don't know. That all kind of worked for me. It was kind of them trying to kill each other. That was fun.
I think they put that scene out early, or it was in a lengthier trailer tease or something, because it sounds very familiar, all them being in this big space, and that they were there to kill each other. Taskmaster never even spoke, did they? That doesn't seem like a big.
No, not one word.
Not
Okay.
one word.
So is that the only character that dies in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe there were some character deaths. Then to go back to your earlier question, there was one, but
Okay.
no one, but no one,
No one of
anyone cares
consequence.
about. Yeah, no.
I think you've really answered all my questions. There might be some questions in the chat, but or Tom may have some questions.
I think really fast with the expensive ticket price, if you want to see in the theater, definitely do a discount Tuesday. If not, just wait till it's streaming. That's where I'm coming from. Andre, what did you think?
Yeah, pretty much. This is one that many people easily can wait for in streaming, and Disney has been terrible in that sense, training people to wait because it's going to hit streaming in just a few weeks anyway.
I'm going to go to a Tuesday matinee and see if I can save a little more. I'm just kidding. I'm not going. I'm not going.
We went last night, man. It was with my Cinemark thing. It was only $6 for 2 people, so that was great.
Good for you.
So expensive.
If movies were priced that, I definitely would go to the cinema a lot more.
That's why discount Tuesdays are the biggest days. Yep.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm going to head on out, Andre, but I think we got the spoilers, don't you?
I think so. I think basically we have now covered everything that is worth covering about this movie. So unless there's like some other major questions in the chat or something, I think we covered it all.
Yeah. And Yelena, and again,
we did have one. Yeah. Kelechi Oki says for $2. Who's the one that dies? Just to confirm. Yeah, that would be Taskmaster. Last seen and completely botched in the movie Black Widow, because that was supposed to be a male character when production started, and it was a female character by the time the movie ended, because they decided girl power in between there.
Well, there wasn't enough estrogen. There wasn't enough estrogen in Black Widow. Come on.
Exactly. So yeah. But now the mistake that was Taskmaster is now no more.
Wow. Go see Sinners. Maybe that's the
great flick.
Yeah. Oh, it's better than this. But still, I stand by that this is the best of the worst. But important to note, it's still among the worst.
I would agree with Andre. Rating, I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I also think no, I can't do out of 10. I have to do out of 6 because that's how I do it in Norway.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 6.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Sounds charitable. Yeah, it sounds like
that is charitable.
Okay.
That is charitable.
Okay.
I give your review a 7 out of 12.
Gosh, that's mean.
Just randomness. I don't
Well,
know.
Right.
Andre said going in that he liked it more than Paulie did. I mean, we established that, and that's where the numbers landed at the end. So I mean,
yes.
I'm not really surprised by anybody's reaction one way or the other. To be honest with you, I kind of was expecting this. This seems like a middle of the road type of film to where, yeah, I bet if you spend $7-8 to go see it on a Friday night with a couple of friends or a girlfriend or boyfriend, whichever you have, you're probably going to walk out of it going, we got our money's worth, I guess. You know, but if you're not really into this, if you're at the point where you're at the end of your rope and you're sick of Marvel, you're probably going to walk out of this going, yeah, that really wasn't worth my fucking time, and I would have been better off not seeing it, but it could have been worse. I think is kind of that's kind of the consensus I'm getting here, is it's like, it's so middle of the road. It's either just worse than bad or just better than good or not bad or whatever you want to put it. So it's in that mid-range, it seems like, from everybody's reviews. So I'm not too surprised with that.
yeah.
But I really think that's going to reflect on the weekend, Chris. And I think you and I are kind of seeing eye to eye on that. And even Andre kind of had to admit that, and even Paulie, I think you kind of did too, that this is going to have an uphill battle with something it did not anticipate with Sinners, right? And this is what Hollywood used to do. Sinners is what would used to be called a sleeper hit.
Yep.
We haven't had one of those in a long time.
Yep.
Because they weren't allowed to happen anymore.
Yep. And then you still have people going to see Minecraft and Accountant 2. you know, there's 4 movies that made over $20 million last weekend. So
Yeah, I think
that's-
Accountant 2 is going to hold a little bit as well and still be top 5. You know, there
Yeah.
used to be movies though that it was like you'd go see, you wouldn't know much about them, and it wasn't like you would come out going, "Wow, man, I got to recommend." You know, like something like
Mhm.
Death Trap with Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve, right? Just
Mhm.
some sort of little mystery movie that
Or a
didn't
little
get a lot
pot
of
boiler
marketing.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
got
know,
a heart out. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, no problem. We're going to be
Ollie,
wrapping it up
good to
pretty
see
soon,
you,
I
buddy.
think,
Got a heart
anyway.
out.
So
Latino Slant. We got check out my conversation with Dante that I did on Thunderbolts and on Sinners and a couple other topics that we hit up yesterday. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Andre.
take care, Polly.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
Chris,
thanks
yeah,
for joining
you'll
us.
see.
Take care.
You know what's sad is I really think Nosferatu could have done what Sinners is doing had they just let the son of a bitch breathe in the theaters, because
Yeah.
people were just starting to get to know what it was when they pulled it out of theaters.
Yeah, it's a gem.
Indeed.
A gem.
And on the topic of Nosferatu, Jason Webster says for
Yeah.
$2 Australian, I
at
love
that
the
segue.
Nosferatu Orlok
Hey.
sarcophagus popcorn tub. I'd love one of those.
Guess
Yeah.
what I finally got in the mail after about 6 months?
Hey!
Oh,
Literally took 6 months to get it.
Oh,
It's tin, all right. It's an actual tin.
Nice.
nice. Let's
Yeah.
see the bottom of it, Tom. Nice.
Nosferatu.
Very
And,
nice.
You open it up and inside there's a bunch of rats.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So the rats
That's
will get into your
What are you going to keep
popcorn.
in there?
I don't know. You could put your weed in there, man.
You could.
Anybody remember that? That sounds
You
good.
could put CDs in there.
You know, you could. It might fit CDs. You got a good point here. I'll have to see if it'll fit. Yeah, I got these Frantics ones here. Let's
There
see.
you go.
Ooh, they do. They
Oh,
do fit.
Wow.
But I don't know if the top
The
will still
lid?
go on.
Nah.
No, not with the lid.
Oh,
well. Maybe if you put them, no, not even that way. But I'm sure I could find something. To
Did
put
they
in
make
there.
any? Did the McFarlane Toys create a Nosferatu?
I was thinking that when I saw this, I was like, you know what? If there's like a 12 or whatever
Yeah.
inch fucking Nosferatu, it'd fit perfectly in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be
I totally
cool.
would
Articulated. Yeah, that'd be cool.
perch it up or whatever. Like, yeah,
Sure.
that'd be cool. Because like the NECA one is, they got an OG version of it from NECA, but it's way too small to put in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Like it's only like a standard 6-inch figure. But anyhow, that being said, let's see what else we got here. Hi Dragonstar says, is the Thunderbolts actually the introduction to the Great Lakes Avengers? Not the East Coast, but Great Lakes. Is there a Great Lakes Avengers? I think there
Yeah,
is.
and it's played for laughs.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. And the movie
West
they're-
Coast Avengers I actually liked. Hawkeye led those.
Yeah.
That was a good run, actually.
In the movie, they're explicitly called New Avengers, but I have to admit that I don't know the various Avengers comics enough that I'm able to tell who's on which team, but this is the New Avengers.
Yeah,
But
and
there's
there
a
is-
different Avengers.
There's a new Avengers team also, but it's not these characters. So
Yeah, so you now have two separate Avengers teams, Avengers and New Avengers.
I don't know which I'm going to be less impressed by.
I think probably you're going to be less impressed by the real Avengers team because
That's what
that's
I
led
think,
by
yeah.
Anthony Mackie's Captain America. I think after seeing this movie, you'll probably be rooting for the new Avengers. Reason being that the available pool of candidates for Anthony Mackie's Captain America's Avengers, that's all the shit from all the other movies that no one cared about. It's the Eternals, it's Shang-Chi, it's the new chick in
War
Doctor
Machine.
Strange,
War Machine.
War Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ironheart, that's the pool of talent for the official Avengers. So I think that after seeing this movie, for all its flaws, you're probably going to connect more with this team than the official Avengers team, even without knowing who they are.
Ugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was Dark
And,
Avengers. There's all kinds of Avengers teams.
yeah.
So.
And Andy, I wasn't going to suggest that, but I just looked it up. There is no larger scale figure that I can see popping up. The closest I came up with was a Mezco version of the original, but it's like 12 inches, but it's $1,000 and it doesn't even look that good. It looks like a cartoon. It looks almost like one of those goofy, like toony terrors they've been doing for was it Super 7 or whatever,
Yeah.
where they look like figures basically like they would look in a Scooby-Doo episode. Which I kind of like the gimmick, but I mean, yeah, that's what I'm like, that's not what I want. I want like the actual Nosferatu. In this case, the newer one would be kind of cool. But no, you don't have to do that. But if you do, Andy, you know it's always something I'm grateful for. And yes, it is cool to have somebody in the fandom who can create figures like Andy does.
Oh man,
In fact, I do have
gift.
dropping shit here because I had to reach. But I do have my Bat Tom right here. Whoop, his cape's all
Awesome.
over. His cape got out of whack.
Awesome.
There you go. Andy put that together, so thank you for that, Andy.
Tom, you're so blessed.
I am. Oh, I
Thank
actually have another figure too that's upstairs of me, just me, dressed as Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles. But yeah,
Somebody needs to make the characters from the opening sequence with you guys holding guitars.
well, we need an Andre thing for that, but maybe that'll be for the second season because I don't know if I can afford to keep adding you guys to the intro. Because when I asked about adding,
No.
Paul
I mean,
to the
Andre
intro,
and you holding guitars.
Well, I know, but I wanted when I saw that intro, I was like, "That's great," but now we need to add a few more people to it. I asked the guys about adding it, and they're like, "Yeah, we can. It's going to cost you X amount hundreds." And I'm like, "Paul ain't worth that." I'm just kidding.
Maybe we
No,
can
he's worth
super
it.
chats for it.
But yeah, it's more like, okay, we'll do that on the next round. Since you got this one finished, we'll wait. Maybe next season.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not as cheap as you'd think to do animation. Anyhow, with that, Andre, I think that was the basics of what we had today. I don't know if there was anything else too
Have we gone
pressing.
through all the? No, there's nothing too pressing. We have all the setup, nothing on the Rumble side.
I don't see anything on Rumble. I'm double checking. Looks good over there. There was one small bit of news that even maybe Chris might be interested in for Bleeding Fool.
Yeah, it broke in the last half hour here. So let's.
Well,
run
maybe
through
we're talking
that.
about two different things. So you go ahead and bring up your thing, which I'm sure
What
is
you got?
this.
Yeah, it's in the private chat. So you
Yeah,
bring it
Sergeant
up.
Rock has been canceled or at least been delayed. See, that's the thing. There's two different versions of this going around. One
Okay.
says delayed, one says canceled. So this was initially going to have what's his face, Daniel Craig in it, and then
Yep. And then
Colin
Colin
Farrell took
Farrell.
up for
Neither
him.
of them being American, for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, so this looks like it's been put on the scrap heap or at least pushed to the side for now. And I'm not surprised. I think DC is going to wait and see how Superman is.
You know,
Received.
we were talking earlier about being able to do smaller Marvel characters, and that's what this would have represented. And I appreciate that Gunn seems to want to explore some of these lesser known, and Sergeant Rock isn't really lesser known, but some of these smaller, more grounded characters a little bit, as well as some lesser known ones. But man, this was a stretch from the beginning. What are you going to team him up with Batman one day?
See, yeah, this would have been a funner film if you had like a proper decent, like if you grabbed like Scott Eastwood or who's the kid that's in 1923
Or even
I mean-
Wyatt Russell.
or Wyatt would have been a good. Yeah, exactly. One of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Threw them in there.
Yeah.
Threw a small budget at it.
And even maybe throw in some cool guys who have played in military films.
I was just gonna say, yeah, have Sylvester Stallone do a cameo.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. Who knows?
Maybe
Whatever.
Marky Mark is a cameo. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Whatevs. Could have
Shit,
been
is
fun.
he even he might? Well, I say he might be too old now to play the role, but he might.
But the thing is this isn't the fact that DC Studios was even thinking about this, because it's not. How is it going to tie into their universe? It's a World War II
I don't
character.
know.
Yeah, I mean, is Wonder Woman going to show up?
That might have been what it was a kind of an into Wonder Woman, because we do know they are doing they were supposed to be doing the Themyscira series, but I don't know if that's still happening or not. Because as far as I know, everything's kind of been put in either delay or canceled, and I think it's mainly just because they're going to wait and see how Superman does.
Yeah,
Because they're shooting Supergirl right now, but people need to understand is that by the time Supergirl hits theaters, James Gunn's initial contract will be up. So I think that they're going to determine by then what's going to happen. Because as we noticed with Zaslav, he's not somebody who fucks around.
right.
Because I'm sure he was, for a while, they're thinking about replacing Abdi and DeLuca. But it didn't get to the point where it was a done thing where he made up his mind or anything like that. I don't know if I necessarily believe he was interviewing other people to take their position. But I'm sure things were getting a little dicey there. And but look, at this point, I think they need to slow the fuck down. It's not the worst thing, honestly. I don't know if it's the right time to keep announcing superhero movies. What do you think, Andre? I think it's time to slow down just a bit.
I think now is not the time to make all kinds of announcements, especially not of characters like this. Now you need to know what the fuck you're doing. You really need to slow down. You need to make fewer movies, fewer series, and you need to make sure that the ones that you do make are going to knock it out of the freaking park. Because anything that doesn't knock it out of the park at this stage is a threat to the future of the entire comic book movie genre and the potential gravy train that it represents. And that they're in that situation is entirely their own fault.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're about to see the movie version of the DC implosion. All these things being announced and starting to be canceled.
And that's a good thing, because I was thoroughly unimpressed with some of their previous announcements. To his credit, James Gunn has been making changes the whole time.
Yeah.
New movies have come, others have gone. That's actually a good thing, that they are able to maneuver. I do not think that, I don't know exactly what they were going to do, but I don't see how, and of course we could be wrong, but right now I don't see how Sergeant Rock was the project to save this entire thing.
No.
They'd be far better off doing like a Lobo solo movie, which I'm sure is going to come.
I mean, in a way, that's kind of what Supergirl is. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's
yeah,
not
I
solo,
know, but then why the hell?
He's a more well-known character in a way than she is, or at least
I know.
more beloved.
If anything, I think it's a mistake even doing Supergirl.
Anyway, you said something, Chris, and I talked over.
Well, no, I'm just saying that there's so many other characters they could spend their time on. Even a Green Arrow would probably do better than a Sergeant Rock. So I don't know. They need to get their act together. Warner Brothers probably ought to be focusing on smaller, cheaper to make movies, not just stuck in the superhero genre. And they've had so much success so far this year with a few properties that, you know, maybe they're kind of looking at the lay of the land and saying, hey, let's pump the brakes on all these DC Comics things for a bit. Get our heads on straight, see how Superman does. So I agree with you. I think they're kind of waiting to see what Superman does, which makes sense. I mean, it looks like now Matt Reeves' Batman 2 is not going to happen, and
it's looking more likely. And I mean, that was kind of the thing with that I kept hearing was that it had more to do with how the Penguin was going to play out. And I mean, there was still speculation even before that. Like I was saying, I'm not so sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's shifting sands right now. So we'll see how it plays out.
And the more and more we get along here, the more it's happening is kind of what I was alluding to is that, because, you know, people kept saying, well, we got this project and that project. I'm like, we do until we don't anymore. When that's kind of what's been happening.
Right.
If you get my gist. And that's
you basically have to wait until you see the trailer to know for sure.
Well, I just knew that James Gunn was going to cancel a lot of this stuff, and it just wasn't going to be the first day. Right. It was going to, because you can't just dump all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and without people losing their fucking minds. Because I mean, even look at what happened with Batgirl when that movie got shit canned 70% of the way done, and the way people lost their little fucking minds. Imagine if James started doing that with a bunch of other projects, even ones that are just in development and stuff.
Think of all the money they would be losing too. Good grief.
Well, and how much money have they already thrown out there? See, that's the problem DC has had for years that we have brought up, and some others have pointed out too, is that Superman Returns wasn't even a flop necessarily.
Yeah.
It was just treated that way because it had such a high price tag on it because of all the previous Superman films that never got off the fucking ground. So how many of those projects have there been now, right? In the DC realm, to where they're just basically in the hole.
Yeah.
Is the way you kind of look at it.
Yeah. Because
they've been spending all this money on all these other projects that either never came to fruition, or they overspent, like the Flash or the Batman, you know, and that's where they're at now. Because people forget the Batman cost like $200 million.
Ridiculous.
And yes, a lot of that was because of COVID, but still, it didn't really make that much money. It didn't really break even hardly. So, and that's the thing, is that we're at this point where superhero movies are just hitting us just a brick wall. So yeah, I'm not surprised this was been canceled or delayed. I don't think anybody is. The other thing I thought that was kind of funny, and this is real quick. Rocky Horror Picture Show is finally coming to 4K.
Hmm.
And do you guys know who owns that movie now, right?
No.
Disney owns it now.
Oh.
And they are proudly announcing they are doing a 4K restoration for theatrical and Blu-ray release. So there you go. I don't think they're going to change anything. I've been doing some snooping. I haven't heard one peep.
So it's okay to say transvestite now?
That's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, they're not going to change anything. I don't think they could touch this one without a lot of problems from that community.
Yeah.
I don't
Boy,
know
that
what
would
it
be
means
fun.
over there, Andre, but it's kind of a big deal here. But you know,
Yeah, it's not a big deal at all.
I didn't think so. I didn't think it was something that really transcended the U.S. and Canada.
No, it's
probably.
a complete non-issue.
But this might be one of those re-releases later this year to watch out for. So
Nice.
yeah, I knew Jill would be happy about that. It's about damn time too. It needs a 4K. So there you go, kids. If there's any more updates on that, I will let you know. But with that, I think we've wrapped things up here nicely. Chris, what you got going on?
Keeping it spicy over on bleedingfool.com and at bleedingfool on X and at Chris Brawley on Twitter. Just stay tuned for more spicy hot takes on your favorite and least favorite entertainment topics. Oh, and I've got a wedding Wednesday or Friday, so I will not be here. So it might be you might have a bigger audience if I go ahead and get that out here now.
Well, we shall see, and you shall be missed. So
Thank
hope
you,
you have a great wedding.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, Tom, anything you want to plug?
Nothing offhand. Just physical media later on tonight. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on. So, we got Pro in the chat. He says, check your DMs, Chris. How you doing, Pro?
I did see that come in. I have not read it yet. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, some of the our people in our orbit are in my vicinity. They are here in Chattanooga, so it is the place to be, as you guys already know.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, it is time to bring out the koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.